All right. Without further ado, I am here, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers, and today I have your Carolina Panthers report. Today is Friday, August the 14th, and yes, you have audio. Last video I goofed up, talked for about a good minute, did not hit the button to turn on the volume, so mistakes do happen. But hey, I want to go ahead and ask you, if you have not already done so, to go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps other people find out about my channel and covering the Carolina Panthers. So we have continued to do the Zoom meetings with players and coaches every day. Things will be changing shortly. So you may notice some of us providing content in a different way coming up. I'm still going to continue to do the live videos. I like doing live videos because you all have a chance to interact. And I want to, at this point, ask me questions. I work for you guys. Ask me questions. What do you want to know? What's up, Chris Johnson? So let me go ahead and get right into it. Today we had a chance to talk to head coach Matt Rhule, and your boy was able to get a question in right before that interview ended, and I will start with that, which is today, Carolina Panthers were able to start their competitive practices, and we are not able to be there yet. We're not able to see. So still trying to pull this information and get some ideas from the coaches, asking him what that competitive practice was like. He said first of all, there were no surprises. It's hard for guys to impress you right now. Everybody looks good, and they were in shells, which is basically just a little bit thicker than a shirt, but not exactly pads today. Everybody's impressed. The real test will be when they put on the helmets and the true pads. But he did want to highlight that nobody disappointed him, so that was a positive thing. So I asked Rhule, what exactly did the competitive practice look like today? So there were one-on-one drills they were able to do, 7-on-7s. They were able to do other group type things against one another, which they had not been able to do up until this point. And one thing that he was looking for to see as people are practicing right now is guys with a sense of purpose. And first I was thinking, like, what do you mean sense of purpose? Oh, it's playing with a purpose. But he's talking about as you're doing something, just know the reason that you're going for that tackle, know the reason you're going for that intercept, know the reason that you're going to do whatever it is that you're doing, because there's a strategy involved in how you're playing football, meaning you've been coached and you know why you're doing something. So Rhule talked about that, and as well as talking about preparing for their preseason games. Preparing for the season without any preseason games. And he said he realized that if things weren't delayed as they are now, that he would have felt like, oh my gosh, this came up on me so quick. And I know there's going to be a lot that he has to get used to as a first-year NFL coach. So he's kind of relishing in this extra time that they're getting. But they will do as best they can to simulate real games. They will do a lot of one-on-ones predominantly, but they will also do, I shouldn't say one-on-ones, one starters versus starters, offense and defense. But they'll also do some mix-ups periodically, to number backups versus starters versus backups, and other things like that they will do to try to get some really game-like situations in here. You can't help but believe and think that some of the rookies, some of the undrafted guys, they're going to still have their work cut out for them to impress, because, they just don't have the opportunity to go up number twos, number threes, number fours. That's the later part of the roster where you're really filling in some things to get some good depth. I'm sure they already have a pretty good idea on first and seconds. It's the later part of the roster that preseason games I think are going to really hurt them for. But I know the NFL is allowing some increased rosters to try to help teams combat that. We're also curious and waiting to see about live television. I would have probably edited that if this was not live, but we're waiting to see what kind of coaching style that he has. I know for me, and the coaching staff as a whole really is what you're wanting to see. I know for me, years ago when we had, Shula, it was that guy had a good plan to come out of the gate, but there was no halftime adjustments years ago. That's what I saw and just really, really hated. So Rhule was asked about the differences between coaching so far in the pros versus the collegiate level. And he talked about the guys at the pro level they all really get it. They're all pros. They're all at another level. It's not that he's bashing a college kid, but he said a lot of these guys just came from high school. It's their first time living alone, so they have a lot more distractions that you're dealing with. versus guys at the pro level, they are honed in and focused on perfecting their craft. So he went on further to talk about play calling and dealing with his personnel. And his comment, I'm trying to look at my notes here, was he made a statement that football is about players. And I really, really like what he had to say on this end, because he talked about at Baylor having a lot of speedsters, really fast guys. They always do 3 spread or even 4. And it wouldn't be anything for those guys to have a game on Saturday and be at the track meet on Sunday winning a 100-meter race. And he adapted the team's plan for those players. And that's what he said, that his style is not just one system, but instead it's always taking and maximizing the players that he has and then making things work from there. And I like that. We're not going to know how it plays out until it's sees, just kind of like with the players. You don't really know until these guys get in pads what's going to happen. Same thing with Matt Rhule. You don't really know how he's going to coach until he's in a real situation on a Sunday coaching his team. So I look forward to seeing that. Just got a question about how does the team look to me. So let me go ahead and get into that. I have not personally seen not one player, not one coach so far. The team has devised a plan where they're going to start allowing media as of this Sunday, I believe is the date, to actually see some of the practices. And that's going to be a limited number of media. I am not a part of that initial group that's going to be in there. That's basically your daily guys that are there every single day. And I'm going to be part of a group that gets invited periodically. Hopefully that'll be weekly, that I'll be able to go and attend the practice and talk to coaches and players. Actually, I'm probably thinking they're going to, I don't know how they're going to do that because we have to maintain our social distance. And the Panthers have been one of the few teams that have 0 outbreaks. So I'm pretty sure they're going to continue to make sure that even as the media are allowed to be around, that there are certain protocols that we're going to have to go through. So can't unfortunately answer your question directly there, Trill, but I appreciate it. Again, why I do the live videos is so you guys can ask those questions directly to me, and I want to be a resource and not just be a guy that just yeah. So thanks for the question. Moving on, lastly that I have from today's takeaway is I think Coach Rhule is really high on Shaq Thompson. The reason that I say that is because in this little bit more than a week that we have been doing the Zoom calls with the coach, there's been one player that I feel he's mentioned the most, and that is, he likes to call a player, a good player, a pro, and by that he means a leader, a student, someone always just working on their craft and leading by example. And he mentioned Shaq Thompson again today as he was talking about, I forget what the direct question was, but he mentioned how Shaq Thompson is there in the morning when he comes to work out. And he mentions that Shaq Thompson is there when he's leaving at the end of the day. I think that was a question about how he likes to be involved, him, and he encourages other coaches to be involved in practices. And that came up. So I think Coach is really high on Shaq Thompson. So I'm going to be watching that closely and continue to report to you all as I see and as I hear. Again, I want to encourage you to submit your questions, leave a comment. I promise I respond to comments. I love engaging, so please do so. That concludes the report for today, Friday, August the 14th. I want to thank you very much for watching. Look forward to continued coverage. Just hit that subscribe button. Chris Jenkins for Charlotte Vibe.